Hey, and welcome back to the Wicked Wild podcast, a feral podcast for the uncivilized horror fans. And it is our final week of Camp Wicked Wild. Survival School is almost done. It blows my mind. It goes by way too fast every single year. We hope y'all have had as much fun as we had, but the fun's not over yet. We do have one more movie to review, and we're going on a little field trip this week, and I think it's going to be a spicy one. But before we get into that, we're going to talk to my hosts here. We've got Jamie up in the New England area of New Jersey, the beautiful, scenic New Jersey. How's it going, Jamie?
Hi, beautiful, scenic. It's going okay.
So I do have a question for you. You know, as I was watching this movie, I thought of you. And let me just ask you this. If you just battled your way through a human hunting party and ended up on your enemy's private jet, are you just going to go home, or are you going somewhere really fun to start again, like Japan?
That's like a really good question, actually. I feel like I want to say you're taking that plane and you're going
just going anywhere.
At the same time, realistically, things that people don't know about me is I get very homesick and I get very family sick. And I guess if I had just avoided death, I feel like I'd be like, take me back to my parents and dogs so I could just cry. So
I'm going to cry for a week.
Realistically, I'm going to tell you what I would love to say. I'm getting on that plane. I'm picking you guys up. We're going to Japan. We're going wherever, you know what I mean? We're doing a fucking Wicked Wild tour. Realistically, I'm crying and saying, just take me home. I just want to go home.
And bring me all your champagnes.
But I will put on the dress and heels. That's all I have to say.
It was a sharp look. It certainly was.
The fake Louboutins, we'll get into those. Yeah.
Yeah, we will. And then we've got Eli in the Pittsburgh area. How's it going, Eli?
Oh, you know me, living the dream.
So, you know, obviously the question I have for you is should be on the nose. You probably already have a list prepared as you're watching this movie. So what are you grabbing out of the crate for your personal battle royale?
Ooh. Let me take a drink for dramatic effect there, because I actually thought about this.
Of course you did.
And if I'm being honest, I don't think I'm going toward the crate, because my initial assumption is that's a trap. So I think I'm going to use the woods as my weapon.
So you're pulling a Dawn and just running the other way.
For sure. As we remember from the early days of Wicked Wild, I'm a woodsman. So I will.
You don't need no crate.
I don't need no crate. I'm going to use the woods as my weapon. And then obviously, as I'm taking out these fools, I'll collect weapons. But like, your boy's a little skeptical and a little pessimistic. And if I see a big, like Christmas stocking full of weapons in this situation, I'm going to go, that's a trap.
And then as you hear gunfire as you're running into the woods, you're like, knew it.
Caught it. I would stop. I would literally stop in my plan and go, listen, no one listen to me, even though I told no one. But that's what I would say, because I have been on record of doing that before.
These stupid people. Mm-hmm. Well, that's fair enough. Well, our great woodsman, before we get into the review this evening, I do want to give you the opportunity, because you had teed up earlier this week in our own personal conversations that you may have some other spicy meatballs that you want to share with the group. So we're going to hand it off to you in a little section we call the Wicked Whispers.
Listen, this week has been fucking nuts. And of course, here in the States, we're getting close to the election. So a lot of it's drowned out. And like, there's just these like little snippet stories, even in the real news, about some of this stuff. And like, that's what I always listen to. And like, I'll hear something, I'll go, wait, what'd they just say? What is that? So let's start this.
Wait, can we just go backwards for a second? How you said even in the real news? Like,
even the real news. I heard that
the real news.
Wait, I'm listening, and all of a sudden he's just like, and even in the real news, at least you finally admitted that you got a lot of fake news going on.
No. I when I say real news, I mean like your mainstream channel news.
Yeah,
the clowns.
Yeah. Not
the
TikTok.
Clowns, I go out and find my information in the Underdark. Okay.
Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt. Real news, go.
So the first terrible one, and I don't know if you all remember, a couple months ago, actually, I talked about how the shows like The Last of Us is based on a real cordyceps. that typically only affects insects and small mammals. The cordyceps that grow and like do that zombie kind of virus that basically they just take over, hacks their brain basically and forces them to do dumb stuff till they die so they can spore. It was only found in South America. Well, it was announced this week they found it 2 other places in the world, Europe and the good old US of A.
Those are pretty big places.
Those are pretty big places. So the cordyceps that can hijack a body has moved. It is in different places in the world now. That's not terrifying at all. Because part of the thing they all told us we didn't have to worry about ever happening to humans was like, it's only this one specific climate. Can't thrive in these other climates. Well, newsflash, motherfuckers. They apparently can thrive anywhere at once. Because it is two very different climates, Europe and the US and South America. And it's in all 3 that we know of. So, that's great. So people that were starting to think that the cordyceps zombie virus taking out humanity thought they were about to lose the bingo game for the end of the year.
You're back on the board. You're back on the board. So that, and then once again, that was on like the mainstream news in a blip. A blip. That should be concerning to everyone. How many hours did you spend on the internet after that little blip?
I don't want to talk about it because I watched this and there's somebody next to me. I look at me, I go, do people not realize we don't actually know how to kill fungus? We can't actually kill fungus. We just keep it at bay because we don't know how to kill it. Nothing can kill it. And they're like, what are you talking about, man? Like they said it's just animals. For now,
we're animals.
Yeah. Look, what do you think we are? We're not T100s here. All right. But so, we got that on the old radar. That's something to look forward to. Also came out this week is one of the craziest Bigfoot videos I have seen in quite some time. A lot of people at first, when it came out, it's someone got kind of stumbled in this area. They saw these trees moving, went to investigate. And you all of a sudden start seeing large, healthy looking trees fall to the ground before seeing this large Bigfoot looking like creature, realize someone's watching him and get angry. And then the person runs. A lot of people were crying foul in the video, but, as they're checking it, people are starting to be like, this might not be.
This isn't as funny as I thought it was.
So, Bigfoot's now on the table because apparently he did not appreciate being peeped on when he's knocking trees down.
Was his topless wife with him, though?
No, but we know all from the Bigfoot episode, Dave. Bigfoot marries cows, not topless people.
Yeah. Willow Creek taught me otherwise. But
that's just a movie. Nothing happens in the movies are real. Oh, wait a minute. It's fucking 2024. Aliens,
it's all real.
E100, cordyceps. And then another Bigfoot video actually came out this week, which blatantly looked fake. And everybody's like, look at these fake videos. And like the tension's kind of going away from like the interesting one. And I'm like, we need to go back and talk about that one. Like, obviously that was fake. We all know it. It looked like a Spirit Halloween costume. But what about that one where we watched something tear trees out of the ground? That seemed interesting. But so Bigfoot's back in play. So we got that going for us. So that's good. Of course. More UFO sightings this week. Been some leaks in some of the darker sides of the internet that apparently a hearing's going to be held here soon. But when I say the dark side of the internet, I mean TikTok. But some of the things I follow that tend to be more truthful than others. Apparently there's going to be some leak that there's going to be another hearing come up soon, with some evidence is going to be presented that is going to be pretty crazy. So look forward to that. So the aliens are still mucking about. They're still in Loch Ness. They're still because there was that video couple weeks ago, which may be one of the craziest Loch Ness Monster videos I've ever seen in my life. That once again, they're having trouble refuting that one too. They actually sent out another research team to look and see what that's about. So, Loch Ness not one to be outdone by Bigfoot. He's still running amok.
Is this proof that has been collected by the granddaughter of the drug lord that you had mentioned to us?
No. No, this was different. This is actually some people were just visiting the loch. They were on vacation. And like you see something kind of poke out of the water, and you're like, what is that? And then like it kind of like dives in, but then you see a bunch of stuff move with it, like almost like a serpent, kind of like how like when a serpent goes through the water, kind of undulating, And this motherfucker was pretty big. So if we find out it's not Loch Ness Monster, just a snake, then that means anybody who thought the movie Anaconda was fake, well, guess what? It's apparently real too.
Well, anacondas are real.
Yeah, but not as big as the movie Anaconda.
One can dream.
Well, you might not have to dream much longer, Jamie, because there's something in Loch Ness apparently. So like that's going on. So right now we have, and then if you remember a couple weeks, like there's all these ghost sightings that are going on too. So not to be outdone by what I would call the new age apocalypse, the classics are coming back. So I was talking to Mary about this, and she was like, "Are we living in Cabin in the Woods?" And I went, "Apparently."
I think we can all agree at this point, if you've watched the news at all for the last year or so, we have fucked our reality. Just 6 ways to Sunday. So.
It is insane, especially considering a study, my last one about the dangers of AI. A new study came out this week that they are estimating currently that about 60% of the videos you find online are deep fakes now.
Yeah. Except for the Bigfoot ones and the Loch Ness ones.
Yeah, I was about to say, remember what you just told us.
Hold on. They're studying those. They study those. They're having trouble refuting those.
Okay.
But that the AI has learned the algorithm so fast that it's making these like celebrity deepfakes. So like a lot of times, like they're like, for example, like just assume 2 out of 3 videos you see where it's a celebrity voice over a video, or like a celebrity saying something that seems crazy, is probably fake, which you should anyways.
Don't trust anything.
No. So like that's where we are. And as we come to the close of the year here, the human reality is everything we thought was fake was apparently real. And everything we think is real is apparently fake. That's where we're at in this time. That is where we're at.
Good night, everybody.
Hey, sweet dreams.
Well, on that somber note, we're going to get into a happy little fun movie this evening to put a capper on our survival school. And before we do that, we're going to do like we do every week. We're going to do our on-the-fly synopsis. And because she was a first-time watcher, I'm going to make Jamie my interviewee for this evening, so she doesn't have to give the synopsis for the movie.
Thank God.
So my question for you, Jamie, is we know that if you were setting up an intricate game of death, you'd reference Winnie the Pooh as your literary backdrop. So what character are you naming your main target after? Is it going to be Pooh or is it going to be Eeyore?
Oh, come on. My main target. I knew you did, because that's why you didn't put Piglet in there, because I tell you which one. Or Owl.
I don't know if I'm going to like either one of these.
Yeah, but they're my 2 favorite characters.
Exactly.
Eli, so like.
Yeah, but like.
They're the best characters in the story. A Tigger too, kind of. Okay, anyway. Okay, what am I calling my target? Oh, fuck.
I knew it'd be hard. I did this.
Yeah, I'm trying to justify too. Yeah, thank you. I'm trying to justify why I would call. Let's call him Pooh Bear.
Pooh Bear.
Pooh Bear.
Well, I'm the Pooh Bear.
Wait, hold on. I mean,
if anybody on this podcast is Eeyore, who is Eeyore?
All right, fair enough. I can't argue. I literally just ended a segment
exactly
questioning, putting in the minds of people that their reality is not real. So
nothing
fair
matters.
enough. Fair enough.
Okay, Pooh Bear it is.
So this week we are going to review a 2020 movie called The Hunt. In this movie, we have a group of elites and a group of what has been called rednecks. You have analogs on both sides of ideology, is what you have. One group has been kidnapped by the other group, and it's a good old fashioned, the most dangerous game. Hunt of humans is what's going on. And there's a little fly in the ointment as one of the people in it, our main heroine, her name Crystal, is just working her way through both of them at the same time. She's just plowing field the whole movie to get to the ending, to a main coup de grace. But this is your classic hard target, battle royale, even Ready or Not style movie. Is that fair?
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
You did forget one important thing at the end, though.
What's that?
Shenanigans ensued.
Shenanigans absolutely ensue.
Yes.
Well, we'll talk about the shenanigans that ensue.
Exactly.
If we all remember, the first time I said it, I said it wrong like I did. Shenanigans.
Yeah, shenanigans.
TM.
We'll never forget that.
Hashtag TM. At least I watched the right movie this time.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you'd watched the Mads.
Yes, because you know what's funny is that kept replacing anytime I looked for this, even if I'm like, even after the fact when like I went to Letterboxd to rank, like, because I log every horror movie only that I watch. And then like, even when I went to look up something about the cat, like it kept giving me the Mads Mikkelsen one, and I'm just like,
that's better because I was looking across the various streaming services to see where it's streamed. And like the first three, I'd type it in and it'd bring up Bone Tomahawk. And I'm like, is this trying to tell me I need to rewatch Bone Tomahawk?
Always.
I think though the Mads Mikkelsen one was, so I watched this on Amazon Prime, I think, and I think they were both there too. So so I'm very surprised you watched the correct one. Except
I've seen this before.
I know. I was going to say you knew which movie we were watching this time, so it's harder sell if you would have said you watched the wrong one.
Well, as I spoiled a little bit in the synopsis section, it is Jamie's first watch of this movie. She let us know. She gave us a peek into it. So we're all very excited. And before Eli and I get into it, I want to get her experience of The Hunt for the very first time.
Me first?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, it was my first watch. And I'll tell you why. Basically for the reason that this wasn't my favorite. I avoided it because I knew right out the gate that this was, to some degree, because upon watching it, we'll have a conversation, a message movie. And when I say that, I just say, Jamie is tired. I hate people. We live in a toxic fucking world. And I don't need a movie. Again, did not even know about this movie. I read what little there was, and then we'll talk about the controversy of this movie. Wasn't it postponed, delayed coming out because of? So we'll get there. But what little I knew about this movie was that I don't need to be either preached at, which I'm not saying this does, but I'm just saying I was like, I'm done with my overly political or societal messages in movies because I already live in this world in a day-to-day basis. Social media exists. It's already all over there. I hate people.
You can't escape it. Yeah.
So why do I need to watch it in my movie? Now, that's what I thought about this going in. Now,
that's why you made the decision not to watch it.
That's why I made the decision not to watch it. Now, watching it, I stand by part of my message. It is not like it's beating me over the head with this way or another, but I feel like it's not even saying enough in its message. Everybody fucking sucks. I already know that. This is reminding me that. But the way this is like reminding me that is like, it feels like, and we know me, I don't need deep intellectual, like I come here so that you guys can give me those messages in movies, but this doesn't feel like it's saying anything smart about anything. It's just I don't even want to call it satire because it is just like an exaggeration of cliches and cringeworthy dialogue that unfortunately we already hear in the real world. It's just amplified by 1,000 that I rolled my eyes so much and was just like, I cannot believe I'm listening to this dialogue. Now I know it's intentional, but it's like intentional to a point that it's cringeworthy in my brain. Like I couldn't, some of it, there was some funny lines. We will talk about like the gore and action and whatever, which I have something to say about that too, because like this movie does come out the gate fucking Jamie-ish. Like it comes out the fucking gate. There's a little CGI in there that I could say you really should have not done with, but it's fucking funny. But like,
but it goes
funny.
for it.
It goes for it, and it's funny though. But then it has these lines in between that make me go, "Oh, please stop!" Like I want to laugh, but it's like hurting. So hate it? No. Am I gonna rewatch it? Probably not. Maybe if I'm doing stuff that's on the background so I can see some of the action scenes and stuff like that, but we'll get into even that because I do think it gets slow. Like it starts out the gate and in a way they kind of waste that. They want to take out everybody so fucking fast that then you're left and you realizing you're left with a very small body count left to get us to the end. And you're like, you just expended like, well, we'll talk about like Emma Roberts. We'll talk about some of the scenes because like it's fucking funny. But so it's I think like I want to talk to you guys. I just think it was a little hard for me. Like it's just hard to sit through this even more, even as comical, even as commentary, even making fun of it, even seeing how fucking ridiculous everybody is. Like because I already know that. It's unfortunate that we're already dealing with this shit. Like,
right? Yes,
I want to see them all get taken out, everybody. But I don't know. It was a little heavy-handed, I guess is the word. Like, is it terrible? No, but it's just a little much that I just don't even know what I'm supposed to get from this in the end beyond that everybody's annoying and everybody sucks.
Yeah.
At the end, which I already knew that. But thank you for reassuring it, movie.
I wrote this book. Fair enough. All right, Eli. I don't think this was your first watch, but tell me about your experiences. Did you see this one in theaters? What do you think of it?
I did not. Because if I remember correctly, this one came out on streaming during the pandemic.
Yes, I think it did. I think it got forced to streaming. Maybe.
It was in theaters 1 week.
Oh, it was?
Theaters all shut down.
So you have
March of 2020, and literally this was in theaters when they shut all the theaters.
Okay.
Down.
Oh wow. Okay. So
okay.
I saw it when it came out on streaming, and like it's no surprise your boy likes a good story. I find myself that with these societal messaging stories, as JB put it, that nowadays a lot of directors lack the ability to do so with like kind of nuance and like giving that like moment because like they beat you over the head with a stick. So like when I heard about this movie, I really had no desire to see because I'm like, oh great, I'm gonna get beat and have a stick for 2 hours. I don't really want to do that. But then I love Betty Gilpin.
Oh, see, I don't even know her from anything.
She was in Mad Men.
Didn't watch it.
So good.
I was on that Netflix series of the female wrestlers. Glow.
Yep. I didn't see that either. I want that one. I wanted like to Glow. See. Yeah. I think I would. I just haven't gotten there yet. But
she's
I have not watched that either.
Fantastic in Glow. Okay. Like she can act, and like so I was real. So I was like, okay. I was like, I mean, it is Betty Gilpin. So I mean, if I have to watch it, and I kind of had a different takeaway with Jamie. I kind of felt like this whole movie was like they were able to show like the idiocracy of the stereotypes of, we'll say, left and right, and like Betty Gilpin was common people who like thought both of them were ridiculous. Now, Betty Gilpin was common people if they could kick ass and take names.
Yeah, I mean, she's not common people.
Like
but.
it was kind of this like you're watching the common people, a common person deal with this like stereotypical ideologue. So like I end up I enjoyed that message and like the dialogue because of it. Because everyone was so extreme. Oh
yeah, they're caricatures like, of the belief.
Sure, and like even you watch like what each side continuously harps about, where like you had like the elite people were always correcting themselves and making sure their like dialogue was correct, but then you had like the right was always like, or the hunted were always like their conspiracies and their like what these people are doing to them and like what this is. So I enjoyed it a lot. Like a lot of lines made me laugh, and then it was a fun ride. Like it was just a fun ride from start to finish for me. The action's good. I don't necessarily mind the slow parts because like maybe one of the best dialogues in like films or like monologue, I should say, in films that year may have been Betty Gilpin telling the tale the hair in the
Oh,
box
see,
turtle.
I hated that part.
Oh, see, I loved it.
Hated it.
I loved it because like that monologue was like she was basically telling you everything you need to know about what this movie is, and like it was the whole commentary of what they were trying to say in that monologue. I loved it. Loved it. I like this movie a lot, and once again, Betty Gilpin nailed it. I don't think there's a movie she could be in that she wouldn't nail it in, and she nailed it again. Even like the surprise Hilary Swank's in this after a hiatus, and like typically I am not the biggest Hilary Swank fan, but like even she didn't do too bad.
No, she's fine. I mean, them keeping her hidden for a long time was kind of dumb. It's not like she's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I always wonder if they did that because it's Hilary Swank, and they're like, she hasn't been in movies in 10 years.
No, it must.
But as soon as you hear her, you know who it is. Like Hilary Swank has a voice that
I agree with you, but I kind of become work on this theory where like I think we're at this point where like there's a huge generational gap that has formed because there's so much content coming out between like our generation and then like the next ones, because like there's a lot of people who don't know. Like I like the other day at work, like I work with people who like when they talk about classic horror films, they're talking, which I think we talked about this on this episode. They're talking about Scream, and like they've never seen the OG Halloween, never seen The Exorcist, never seen the thing. I put the thing on at work the other day, and I had 3 people go, "What is this?" The Thing, and like, the one thing I think was there's just so it's not like even like when we were younger, it like there wasn't as much horror out, so of course we're gonna search it. But like in all reality, for like film wise, there just wasn't as much content, and now you have like then you have this gap because now you have these kids that like primarily watch YouTube, and like they're getting their horror from like this YouTube horror genre, which is a big thing. So much,
and all that.
Well, that and like even like these short horror films are becoming so popular on YouTube that they're now starting to turn them into actual films. Like Skinamarink is a great example of this.
Or Lights Out.
Or Lights Out, right? So like I think there is a gap, and I honestly think Hilary Swank. I think people assumed that she would be like big, but like I think she kind of falls in that gap because you figure prior to this, her last big film was what, $1 Million Baby?
Makushla?
Yeah, like that was probably her last big film. And like, but in that, and like I think they were trying to use like, oh, everyone forgot about her, and like whatever. Like I think where it's kind of weird for like people like us who like she has like kind of that voice like you always recognize. But I think the other thing, the reason I fell short is like there's a lot of people who don't know the fuck Hilary Swank is. Anymore. So like it's a weird time in human history. It's a weird time. But I love
these kids today. Is that what you're saying overall?
I don't even know. Like I think like when we're old, we're gonna be the new evolution of that old man on his lawn shaking his fist, because like it's not even like it's just like they're ignoring things. It's just there's so much out there that they like will be old people. And there'll be people who have never seen Scream. Like, I truly believe that's going to be a thing. And like, then you're going to be like, when they talk about like, I almost feel like we're almost to that point now with like things like Halloween and like the OG Texas Chainsaw Massacre and stuff like that, where like you talk to these, like you see kids and like, that's almost like watching a movie from the 30s. Like, what's the point to them? Like, it's wild, man. Like, especially when like none of them have seen The Thing. And then, like, I even brought up Evil Dead. I was like, well, you guys seen Evil Dead? They're like, oh, yeah, that's that new movie, right? Evil Dead Rise. That's new. And I went, what about the originals? And they're like, oh, there was originals? And I'm like, I can't work with you anymore.
Well, fair enough. So I'll give my overall. I think tonight is, we don't have any guests. It's just us. We're going to have a really fun conversation about this. This is my selection for Camp Wicked Wild. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. I think you would probably have guessed that. And I knew it was a subversive choice. I knew it was a controversial film. All the things you talked about, Jamie, I was 100% on board with. I do not want another political preach party on either side in a movie.
Yeah.
When I finally did see it, I was so refreshed by what this movie really is. But again, it is, I would call it's not a political satire, it's a social satire.
Yeah.
It's about ideologues and extremism and the impact that has on everything. But satire is always really hard. Satire is a broad path, and people get upset. I mean, when this, to the point you made, when this came out, the friggin' sitting president was tweeting about how hateful this movie was, which just made me want to see it more. I mean, literally, I think some of that quote unquote controversy was played up by the PR of the marketing team for this movie. I mean, it was like, gimme. It's like free press. Give it all to me.
Exactly what they wanted for that movie.
Exactly.
Was him
Exactly. Yeah. To be fair, I don't think they pushed the release of it for greedy reasons. I think that if I remember right, they pushed the release of this because there was a mass shooting that happened right before it was supposed to release in the fall of 2019. Totally valid reason. I get that this is not a message that you plop on top of real events of hatred that happened. Totally get that. But this, like I mentioned earlier, it came out in March of 2020. We were just getting spun up on what the hell is COVID-19. What is it actually doing? We as a society globally were at peak fear. We were scared. We didn't have answers. We couldn't trust our governments. We didn't know what to do. We were literally told to not go to work. We were told you would walk, and I know you all, because I know that we had conversations about it. Literally, Jamie and I talked about how it was like a zombie apocalypse movie to be in New York City during that and walk the street and there's nobody, like just the street. It was surreal. I mean, what we were going through. And then you have a movie like this, and literally a few months after this movie comes out, a lot of the stuff that this movie is talking about happens, like in Seattle and in Minnesota. Just people just choosing violence and hate, like that nobody else has value if you don't have my perspective. This extremist tribal think was starting to happen. But I think this one, and again, I think we couldn't have consumed any other kind of satire, because first and foremost, and I recognize I'm an old fart, but I don't know that younger generations have any appetite for satire at all. I don't know that they have the capacity to think critically about their own position, to accept a satirical thing. And satire has always played that part in government. I mean, even I've mentioned it before, all of these movies are a form of the classic novel, The Most Dangerous Game, which is about hunting poor people. And that is also very similar to an older work called A Modest Proposal by Jonathan Swift, the Irish satirist, which literally his whole story is about, hey, I know we have a problem that Ireland is getting overpopulated. What if we just eat the babies? We're going to solve two problems at the same time. And half of that little novella that he wrote is recipes on how to prepare babies to serve them back to the poor people. I mean, that's heavy satire, but I think this is more along the lines of that, of where it's absurd for the purpose of being, look at how absurd what we're actually talking about could potentially be if it became reality. It's not like a satire like Joker is or Fight Club was. Those are serious, somber, looks at very similar social things, but this is much more of I'm going to crank the caricature, to your point, Jamie, up to 11. And we're going to have a bunch of characters that don't represent anybody, but absolutely represent everybody. They represent these think pods that are in our society. And to your point, unfortunately, we hate hearing them and they sound absurd, but there is nothing that was said in here that I haven't heard before in reality.
Exactly. Yeah. And exactly my point. Yeah. It's rough.
But it is interesting that, and I mentioned him in joking when we were preparing to do the on the Fly Synopsis, but there was a run of these movies like Ready or Not and Surviving the Game, Battle Royale, Bloodlust. I mean, this is a topic that seems to cyclically come back up, of the rich overlords and the people that are having to, even the movie if you think about it, I hadn't put this in my notes, but if you look at the movie we reviewed last week, I mean, that movie is about similar things of you have these corrupt rich people who are doing these really hateful things because they've devalued humanity. They devalued each other completely.
Forgot Hunger Games as well.
Yeah, Hunger Games is absolutely that. Yeah. I thought it walked the line of humor, violence, and messaging pretty well. Because, like I said, I get that satire is hard and it's not for everybody, but I got enough action and violence to make me happy. I got some really slick lines, and the messaging, while I think a lot of the frustration I heard from other people is because it didn't take a side. So it was kind of balanced and boring. If it didn't take a side, then what was the message? Well, the message is that's the problem. To the point that Eli just talked about with her telling the story of the jackrabbit and the box turtle. I mean, that was, in my estimation, that was really ingenious because it wasn't about who won the race. It was about the consequence of, I have to be right. I have to be the winner. And since I don't value you, I'll just butcher you and your whole family. So I thought that was an ingenious way of taking that children's story that we're all familiar with of the rabbit and the tortoise and adding their storyline to it. So that's my overall thoughts on it. I thought the movie was fun when I got out of it, and because I didn't see it in theaters, I like Eli, when it came to streaming, which it did pretty quickly, I wanted to see it because everybody had ramped it up of it's controversial. And if you see this movie or X it was interesting on either side. They were accusing, if you went and supported this movie, you were the other, you were the enemy. Yeah. On both sides.
Holy shit.
It was hilarious. Yeah. So anyway, that's my overall thoughts. And again, because Jamie, this was your first watch, I do want to open it up to you first of what do you want to talk about? What do you want to get into? Because
a couple things. I'm trying to think of where to start. Because I do want to talk about like the fun stuff. So let me just get my last piece about the messaging out of the way that I want to ask you guys. And you guys can still delve on it. I'm just saying my last note, because I'd rather talk about gore and kills, which I do have things to say about that too. Yeah, things like that. But so here's my question though. I personally am glad they didn't choose a side. That makes it even worse to me, is because then you border a line on preaching. It's different between making a message and then preaching in a way because you took a side. And yes, everybody's allowed to have their opinions and I'm not saying that, but like that didn't bother me in this. I'm glad everybody's the worst, or everybody can get to an extreme and we're terrible and deserves to die. But my question is this though, and I'm asking because I watched it, but like I didn't write enough notes, so I'm trying to remember really quickly because so many people get taken out so quickly. We are kind of left with only the elitist liberals to see them as kind of bad. You know what I'm trying to say? We don't really get the other side that they are hunting so much in Ethan Suplee, who I love him in anything he's in, but is just like a conspiracy theorist, which is a thing, but it's like, that's his big thing. And so more about him is just like, he is conspiracy theory, and that's a lot. But like, I guess
he's Alex Jones is who he is.
I guess I'm trying to say is like, they didn't take a stance, but they also kind of played more with one side versus the other, because the other one just gets taken out so fucking fast that you kind of can't even get their comments. You get a little bit, even, what's his, Ron, who's the guy that's still standing? Is that Don, who ran like Don says a couple things with the driving, whatever, and stuff like that. And you're like, but like, so I get, but you know what I'm trying to say? I don't know. I'm not saying they took a side, but I guess what I'm saying is they left us more with one side to hate simply because they took the other side out so goddamn fast.
They killed them so quick.
And Betty Gilpin, whatever her name is, Crystal, theoretically doesn't have a side because we don't know much about her at all. You know, she's put on this side. So you're thinking throughout the movie that she is on this side, I guess. But she's never said a thing in this movie that has you, like, makes you think otherwise, think that or otherwise. She doesn't give any insight to where she stands on anything, what her beliefs are, what her, she's just surviving. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm even asking in this, except that like, it seems not one-sided, but the ratio seems more one-sided, even if that's not their intent. Yeah, even if that's not there. I think it's a little unbalanced in making everybody the worst because we don't even get a chance to see that the other people are also the worst in their
We don't get the sound bites to remind us.
I have to imagine part of it was just because it's I think I imagine in their eyes it was difficult, like because like you spend a lot of time with Gary, who's like the kind of the
is that Ethan Suplee?
Yeah, Ethan Suplee's like the worst of.
He's
like,
Alex Jones,
right? Yeah, he's Alex Jones. He has his podcast.
You have just him.
He's talking about the crisis, whatever, and then you go to Dawn, who is one of those ones that like don't want to take action. So much so that because he didn't take action, by his end, you don't know if he was actually which side he was actually been on. But that was due to his inaction, and then like him constantly questioning everything and like wanted to like take everything at face value. Which then you had Crystal was like open the trunk, like here's Gary, and like all this stuff. Like, but
Jesus Christ, no, that's Gary.
No,
I think really what I think it came down to was an error of they were like, because I think like with the structure of the movie, like you're being hunted, you're whatever, but like it would, that's a hard balancing act. And like even like other movies like that's tried to done this like the Hunger Games, which it's like a kid version, so it's like a hard comparison, but like even the Hunger Games, like none of the other kids matter, and like there's small alliances here and there throughout them, but like you see like those movies start the same way where a bunch of people die up front, and then you're kind of left one too, and like I don't know if it was from them copying that structure or like them just realizing like it's going to be hard to do some of these things if we either have too many people or too less people. So I think that's why you like focus on those large parts of time with Gary and Dawn, who is kind of like supposed to be all the other parts.
I guess that makes sense.
So
but you know what I'm saying too, though, right? We have like everybody alive on the elitist liberal side, whatever you want to call them. The left. Let's just go left and right here. Let's call this what this is and whatever. But like you have so many of them villains, and then you lose so many of the right, like so quickly that you have no idea what you don't even know if they actually are, which could be another point to this movie. But I'm just saying, like, you know literally nothing about them except that one guy's Staten Island, which I find fucking hilarious. And like, because that's how they label them in the in the name. Like in the
why do you need 7 guns? Because it's my right.
No, I for sure. I honestly think like a lot of that came down to just like the structure, like this more like the screenwriting and like the structure. Like, they wanted that, because I guarantee you, like, I imagine some of the big kill scenes were like a lot of times they're like the early scenes written in this kind of things. It seems like when like you listen to screenwriters talk, so like that bunker scene was probably an early scene, and then like they're like, oh man, so we need to save a bunch of these fuckheads for that scene, and like
to get there,
and then that's when you get like these like the kind of like the slower middle one-off stuff.
Well, and they are alive, but we don't spend a lot of time with them. I mean, other than on the plane, we don't see them again until the bunker scene.
Yeah.
I guess I feel like most of the cringy dialogue is them, though. Most of it. I get what you're saying, though. Ethan Suplee and Dawn is in it a lot. I don't know, but I felt like a lot of it was
the beginning. Like it was like a couple of them were saying like, because like a lot of them kept bringing up the Manor Gate in the beginning.
Yeah.
And so like I like I said, I don't think that was more of their messaging tendency. I think that was just like film structure and writing, like
and you might be right. The more I think on it, maybe like Ethan Suplee and Dot, like they might even present more than I don't know. Right. I guess I was just like the way I like came out of it thinking, I was like, well, we're trying to remember it. I'm like, well, we spent a lot of maybe not even a lot of time, but a lot of that cringy dialogue came from one side, in my view, and then like less of it from like the other side. But I think we could all agree that Dennis from It's Always Sunny was perfectly cast because
and called Richard.
Yes.
The dick is literally named Richard.
It was so good. Like he can't.
From that first scene of like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, he's not even in a ton, but I feel like he's just at this point, he's just going to typecast himself into this. He could only play like dicks or psychopaths because, like,
he's got the face for it for sure.
Oh, he does, that punchable face. Like, I'm sure he's like the nicest guy on the planet. Because I bet you that whole cast is, but like, you know, it's always sunny. I mean, but anyway, I digress.
Haiti needs our support. Do they need his semen? I mean, he's just the worst in the best way.
I'm so upset because I told you guys when we talked after Camp Fire, I was gonna like rewatch this or whatever, and then I didn't get a chance to because I wanted to write down some of the lines. I'm sure I can go on IMDb and pull up quotes and at least refresh my memory, which maybe I will while we're talking. Just the ones that did make me like laugh out loud versus like cringe, like, you know what I mean? Because there are some in this movie that are fucking funny, but for me, they were in between a lot of dialogue that was just really irking me.
Yeah. And yeah, it's meant to get under your skin.
Yeah, and it does.
I mean, I thought it was hilarious how Suplee reacted when the quote unquote crisis actor leans over to him when the soldier turns around. Goes, you got to chill out, Gary. He's like, it was so perfect the way he reacted, and then he just loses his mind.
Ethan Suplee, that man,
I love him so much.
National treasure. Because like
I was about to say that exact phrase, Eli.
Movie,
national treasure.
He like a lot of his mannerisms. Because like what's crazy too, and I think it's because I don't know if he did this on purpose or if it's just because Ethan Suplee, but there was parts where he almost reminds you of the brother from My Name Is Earl. Like
he is the brother from My Name Is Earl.
No, but I mean that character.
Oh, I was like, Randy. Like he Randy.
Like he was. It was like he was playing. Like if Randy became Alex Jones, because like he even had the same. He did the same like that scene where he almost blows himself up in the truck, and he's like, "I didn't see it." Like straight from like mine, and I laughed so hard.
Which he has to drag him onto the train.
Yeah, and Betty Gilpin, she had such few dialogue, but like her facial expressions throughout this whole movie. Because when she put him on a train and she stops, she's like that. Like
you guys are opposite of me because one of the things I didn't know was that I hated her face. Like I don't know. I'm sorry. Like of all the girls we've gone through, borderline Laurie Strode, Betty Gilpin's my least favorite here. She brings nothing. She brings nothing to me. I know you said that about Erin. I'd rather have Erin 8 times over than Crystal. There's something about her. Those faces do the opposite for me. I wanted to punch her in them. Like she just makes dumb faces all the time when she's like, whatever. I just don't like it. I don't like her face acting. I don't know what it is.
She has been one of my favorite ride-along main characters.
Not me. I don't know. I mean, I just don't like her.
Betty Gilpin.
And again, and we're not getting into the discussion of where you grew up matters, but I think in this case, there are some idiosyncrasies that she has that I recognized immediately, and she plays them fantastically. Like she's not talkative. She doesn't give a fuck what you think. So she doesn't really want to engage with you because she grew up in a rural area. And probably if you talk about the story her mama told her about the jackrabbit, probably a pretty toxic family relationship. She was a military girl. And it's obvious that she went into the military not because of some patriotic duty. She probably went in the military because it was the only option she had to get out of her town or her situation. And that whole conversation she has with the advisor about, so you're the advisor. Did you serve? He goes, I'm reserve. I'm Army Reserve. Oh, and he said, were you in the military?
I was National Guard.
Yeah. And he says, were you in the military? He goes, yeah, I did 2 tours in Argentina. I was in the shit. And he said, well, it looks like I'm in the shit now as he's bleeding out. And she's like, hey, that's a mighty fine way to think about it.
Yeah. And
thank you for your service. And then I recognize, Jamie, that's a very subversive personality that she has, and it would be very annoying. And she's meant to be annoying because she is not engaging with anything else that's going on around her. Even in the beginning, when she takes her pen and makes a compass, and the other girl, Emma Roberts, is yelling at her, hey, and she's just flat ignoring her. Like she could care less that she was there.
And but like I think she even. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, but I think my favorite point with her is in the gas station.
Yes.
And I don't know if Eli had the same experience, but when she asks for a pack of cigarettes and then realizes she lost her wallet and then dips into her sock to pull out a 20, that's a real thing. Like, if you grew up in a low income, crime ridden area, that's where you kept your emergency
shoe money.
Yeah. That's a real thing. And I thought it was hilarious.
That's fine. It just doesn't change the fact that I punch her in the face most of the time.
Dave, to that point, I literally, when I was a kid, Nike had come out with those shoes that you were supposed to plug in that little, like, it looked like a flash drive into under the
download
sole.
Your specs.
Yeah. And then you put your computer and like, I don't even know where I was at. There was like a pair on sale because like they died real quick. Everybody's like, well, that's stupid to keep a flash drive in your shoe. But like they were like on sale. And I was like, oh, that's a good pocket. That's a good pocket for shoe money. And like that's the only reason I got them, because I was like, it's got underneath the sole. There's a little like divot. I can tuck my money
pop the USB out.
Yep. Well, it didn't come with USB. You had to buy that separate.
But no, I get it, Jamie, and I totally validate that. I get that she would be a very fresh. If that's not your personality at all or not your experience, she would be somebody who doesn't add anything to the movie. But for me, I found her really compelling. Like I really enjoyed riding along with a no nonsense person.
That's fair. But like, for example, and I won't. I was actually going through quotes now, but I won't even find it again. But for example, like. And maybe I just don't get it because I literally said like I don't get it. But like the scene where she is talking to that guy, the consulting guy, and she goes, "I'm just like," and then I thought maybe I can, and I was just like, "What the fuck is this conversation?"
She ramped up.
I don't like, but she and her face. I was just like, I want to fucking punch you right now. I wish she died. Also, I wish everybody in that movie.
Maybe
died.
that's like I don't know, Dave. Maybe that's like a rural thing because like that was a thing when I remember like when I was in high school I wrestled. Like it was a thing. Like guys got mad. Like, oh, did you see that, man? Man, it got me like that. Was
I get
thing
that. I get what you're saying, but the way she said it, I was just like, the fuck is she doing? She's like, what is this? I don't know. She's just not for me. Give me Cindy. Give me Erin. This one's not for me.
Oh,
listen, we're not talking about her skills yet. She's fucking.
You're saying it's a no for you.
Destroying shit. I'm just saying when it comes to her personality and everything else there. Yeah. I was just like, while we're on the subject here, the only other thing I want to talk about, because I don't know if it was just me projecting or if either of you picked up on her whole yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no. I grew up poor and working service jobs. And we know that she's worked service jobs probably her whole life too. Understanding that when we, the service sector, call you yes, sir, or no, sir, or yes, ma'am, no, we are saying fuck you.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought she was just being polite.
Oh, she is.
It's the way she uses it, because like it depends on who she's talking to. Because like even like because you tell Dawn, like she does it to Dawn a couple times, and like because that's also like a very country thing, like the because like in that's a habit. Like people yell at me when I moved up to the old burg because I do that, and every once in a while I slip and I still get yelled at sometimes. But like you have different versions of it. It depends how you say it.
Yeah, and you have to dial it in because sometimes people realize exactly what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a service thing. I mean, when you're, I was a waiter all through college, and you get chewed on and blamed for everything, and all you can do is say, "Yes, ma'am."
Mm-hmm.
I'll get that fixed for you right away. So it becomes sort of a defense mechanism for you of just, I wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire, but I do have to do this job, so I'm going to do it.
Fair enough.
Amy, you're breaking my heart.
I'm sorry, this movie's just not for me, but can we talk about the beginning for a second? So
sure.
I'm going to start with telling anybody who hasn't seen this, like spoiler alerts, because like now I'm just going to spoil probably the best part of the movie for you, which is the beginning. So this movie starts. Okay. We're Hunger Games style, just for argument's sake. Yes, I know there's other ones that came for Hunger Games, but like that one's fresh in my brain. We drop everybody at a point. They don't know where they fucking are. And, they quickly find out that it's like kill or be killed in a way. It's hunted, but they are given weapons. So I guess it's kill or be killed. But this is such an overdone, but like fun concept for simply gore and bloody kills and fun kills and creative things. It happens so fast in this movie for me that it's sort of a waste. I don't want to say a waste, but it is a waste to do it that fucking fast. Like they literally at some point, I guess Don tells us that there were 11. I never even counted, but he says there's 11 of them. We lose, I think, immediately we lose at least 4 or 5 of them.
Half of
immediately. Yeah. And then right after that, in the scene in the gas station, we lose 3 more or whatever. I think it's 3, and I could be wrong there. That it's just like a little. Listen, I love shit coming out the gate, but like we lost too many that the fun of it starts. It very quickly realizes now it's just Crystal, and there's not even that much for her to do until she meets up again with people. Like them on the
momentum
train,
is hard. Yeah.
The momentum is a hard stop for me. Like, and that's why I said the middle gets a little like it's a meandering and bore, because like it comes out the gate, but then it is like she just ran right into a brick wall and it just like stops. And you're like, okay, like we started so much fun. Fucking the lines. I know some of them cringy, but like the lines right out the gate, you're like, okay, this is like comedy, satire, whatever. And then like fucking literally before I can get the words out, isn't that Emma Roberts? She's fucking shot in the head, Pete Davidson style, Suicide Squad, which yes. And I loved what happened to both of them. More so Pete Davidson because he knew exactly what he was doing because everybody hates him. Yeah. But like right out the gate, you're like, I mean, I knew it was her immediately. So she has maybe 2 minutes more of screen time. But I'm just saying, like, as she's talking, it's one of those surprise headshots right to the fucking thing. And you're like, holy shit, this is fun. But as you're even getting out the words, holy shit, this is fun, they're like, take out this person, take out this person, take out this person. And you're just like, there's fun to that. But then it's like when it depletes most of your cast immediately, like at least for someone like me, I'm just like, oh, now I got to follow just fucking Betty Gilpin for all the movie until she can get to the end and take everybody there, because it's just like, there's no more of these people to play with. And to even take out 3 of them in the gas station, we should have had them separated more so that we could, even if we don't connect to these characters, because we didn't. We got their names through like closed captioning or when I looked at the credits. That's how I knew Staten Island was one. That's how I knew Big Red was one or whatever. Emma Roberts' yoga pants. Fine. Like whatever.
Vanilla Nice.
Yeah. So it's like,
did you recognize who Vanilla Nice is?
No, I don't think so. And I looked up like everybody else.
That was Sturgill Simpson.
Wait, who's that?
Was it?
Yeah, that was Sturgill Simpson.
I did not realize that.
He's a folk music artist.
Yeah. Oh, that's why I don't know who that is.
I didn't even
I'm looking up now. Oh, yeah, it's him. Oh, it doesn't even look like, looking at this picture of him, I feel like he doesn't even like look like him.
I just thought that was hilarious.
I mean, all those people I knew, but by the time I got out, like, oh my God, that's so-and-so. They were fucking dead. But again, I don't need to connect with them. Not to our point of getting to know these characters. They're all going to die. I did not need to get to know them really.
Because they're going to say awful stuff either way.
Yeah, but to separate them at least so that I got more creative kills spread out a little bit. Because like we said, and I don't think I'm exaggerating, we lose, I think, 5 of them immediately. So it's like headshot to Emma Roberts, the girl that falls in the pit, another one blows up, the guy with the arrows, like how many, like that's all right in that's all right in the fucking beginning.
The whole punji pit was hilarious though.
Oh my God, that was my favorite.
Tomorrow's my birthday.
That was my favorite.
Eat a whole pie.
That one was like, I think, my favorite.
And then when he goes to pull her out, he's like, hey, it's your birthday, Margarita Pyra. She's like, just fucking kill me.
Her whole bottom half is gone.
To your point though, Jimmy, I think a lot of these like battle royal type movies that seems to be a problem in a lot of them, because even like I love battle royale, but like it kind of had
it a long time, but I just haven't seen it in a long time.
It kind of had like the same thing, and I'm really surprised that no one's tried taking this concept to like a limited series, not necessarily like a whole TV show, but like just a limited series where you could spread that out a little bit.
Just like, you know what I mean, though, right? Like if some of these people did separate, I don't need to get to know them, but maybe it was dispersed a little more so that I had another kill a little bit down the way. Because like I said, once we get to Betty Gilpin and once she takes out like the mom and pop, now we're just kind of stuck listening to her, Ethan Suplee, and whatever story development is going to happen, but like with no, besides the other guy getting blown up at like off the training, right? That guy blows up there, right? Down his pants. Yeah, the grenade down his pants. And I'm not saying they're not fun, but now they're few and far between. And it's like, I don't care for the stuff in between. Like we all knew that they weren't getting, we all knew that guy wasn't from the embassy or whatever. Like, it's just like, let's just move this along. Like, let's just move this.
But it does give you the opportunity to have those sort of conversations, like to the point you're making about the embassy guy, when they're in the car and she's just sitting there while Don's conversing about him. And he keeps saying, well, there just had to be something. I mean, why would they have picked you? With what could it be that you did? And she's like, you can see her realizing who he actually is. And she just kicks the shit out of him.
Her facial expressions, once again, when that clicks, where she does like that. And then you see her slowly reach up for the old shift bar and slowly bring her legs up. And he even turns and goes, what are you? And then wham, you're like, and then Don's back going, oh my God, why would you do that?
And then runs his head over. I just wish we could have seen that.
I was so upset they didn't show that, right?
Exactly.
They show a lot
with everything
of
else they showed.
I was very, very surprised. And then I thought it was going to be the classic horror. Well, you're not going to see him get run over, but we're going to pan out. Like, she's going to go look at him, and at least we're going to see. And we saw nothing. No aftermath. Exactly. It's like they ran out of money. They were just like, I don't know, just run him over, but don't show it. We're showing everything else. We wasted all our money on this woman in half in the pit. We just can't do it anymore.
And Jamie called bullshit. You ran over ahead. You owe it to me to show me what happened.
But then I'll give him credit though, because that grenade, you watched the whole thing for that grenade blowing up that guy's pants.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he just
and his two legs just go on whoosh like in the distance.
Listen, it's like it's not the worst ride. Like, putting it on is not like, you know what I'm trying to say? I think it's like, if the dialogue was mildly turned down for me, I would have had a better ride. And I do find that middle boring. Like, I do find that like middle part a little boring, but
and with your opinion of Crystal herself, I can imagine that would be hard to be
to be in that middle. And be in that middle with her is like, when she doesn't have someone else. I mean, I know there are people there, but I don't know if she wasn't like in a better setting or dealing with more.
She's just Betty Gilpin. You need to watch. You should watch Glow then.
I want to. And
watch Glow. Fall in love with Betty Gilpin,
and then come back to this.
Rewatch this. I'm telling you, Betty Gilpin. Like, this movie, I will stand by the statement that she shows off her skills in this movie with such minimum dialogue, and she's almost doing like that old like character acting style of just facial expressions. It is done so well. I love Betty Gilpin.
Oh, I'm aware now that you do. I did not know you were such a Betty Gilpin fan. I didn't even know who she was. Gilpin. I started this and I had to look up because she looked familiar to me, but it turns out I've never seen her in like anything. I went through her IMDb and I was just like, there's things I wanted to see, but I just never saw her in anything. And I was just like, I thought I did, but apparently not.
Yeah.
I had that though with a lot of people in this.
Yeah.
There was like a few people that I thought I saw more than I did. I kept confusing people with other.
Because in that final fight, I mean, she proved that she could full on John Wick action movie.
Yeah. Oh, that final fight scene between her and Hilary Swank was so good.
Yeah, and ugly. It wasn't a graceful female action star. I mean, it was a street brawl. I mean, it was an ugly, violent, brutal fight.
Actually, that fight has one of the lines that I laughed out loud at when she goes, "No more glass."
No more glass.
The door. So that they like that I don't know why that line like did it for me. That one, and like when she goes, "You see a little pig, right?" or something like that. That line too, and like he just comes out. I don't even want to talk about the pig. We can, but I don't even want to talk about the pig. That I texted Dave while watching this movie before it even fucking started. The pig walked out of the box, and I texted Dave and I said, "Why did you do that? Like, what is going to happen? Why did you do this to me?"
Yeah, literally, little it was, pig. "Oh my God, I love this pig. Please tell me it's okay." And I sent her back the cringing emoticon. I'm like,
I said, "Why did you do this to me?" I think, or something like, "Why would you put me through this?"
Because not only is it a baby pig, it's a baby pig dressed up in clothes.
Yeah.
This pig, holy shit! He's just like, he just comes walking out. Like, I know it's not your favorite. It was definitely.
because they use 1984 as like 1984 is always like about dystopian future. Like this is, I think they've referenced it a lot, even so much so like the nicknames of people, because I think they're like, we're here, like we're in 1984, like so like I get it, but like I know even when I like the part where the pig gets it,
I didn't watch. My eyes were closed.
I was like,
she knew what was
Jamie
happening.
gonna like this.
No, Jamie's eyes. The moment that pig comes sliding down the thing, when Jamie's eyes were done, like that's it.
Yeah.
Ears and eyes, and tell me when it's over is the situation that I go through in those moments.
But it sets up some of the great conversation in that infight when they're both about beat each other to death, and Crystal turns to Athena and says, "Why did you call me Snowball?" And then Athena starts to explain to her that it's from this book called Animal Farm, and it's the main character. And she's like, No.
Yeah,
Snowball was the idealist. You should be. And Athena's face just falls and goes, "You read Animal Farm." And she's like, "Yes, ma'am, I did." I just thought that was a great line.
Real quick to interject though, I looked it up. Betty Gilpin has 3 projects coming up. One I'm excited about. 2, I don't know. She's doing a Nurse Jackie prequel, a TV series about the assassination of James Garfield. Which, are we hurting that bad? TV and film industry that we have to make a TV series about the assassination on the president no one remembers who did nothing. Like that's what we're at, television world. But the other one, it's
I was say, what's the other one though?
Called American Primeval, which is a Western series about a cult.
Ooh,
so that
sounds like she could do that. It sounds like that could be up her.
That sounds good. Once again, Hollywood. If you've been listening to our Campfire Tales, we've come up with stuff. We don't have to rely on a James Garfield movie.
Exactly. We can help
the president that no one remembers, and his only known thing besides being assassinated was that he was too big to fit in a standard bathtub. That's the only trivia about him.
In the last 4 weeks, we have workshopped 3 concepts that are way better than that.
Yeah. Like this is, what are we doing, Hollywood? What are we doing?
Well, just on that final scene, because I do think it's the right way to conclude
for sure
this conversation that they're having, or the struggle that she's having. Did you all notice the callback of when she finally kills Athena? The first thing she sees is the jackrabbit, and then she gets up and eats her food.
Yeah,
like she eats Athena's grilled cheese sandwich.
I was happy that dog was okay though.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous dog.
That dog is he just like is sitting there when she comes in and is totally undisturbed in the whole fight. To be fair, maybe a bad dog, because most dogs come to their owners when like their owners being viciously attacked. At least like maybe though like a bark, like maybe just like a. But no, this dog is just nowhere. This dog just bounces. This dog's like, I want no part of this. I'm just gonna wait till you guys are fucking
figure it out.
Yeah.
But Dave, to your point, even her realization that she was the jackrabbit of the story before she eats, like when she sits up and sees that rabbit, like the look on her face, I was like, "Oh, Betty Gilpin, look at you, acting your heart out."
And again, it is cranked to 11. She's overacting it because it's a caricature, and I dug that. But now we've got to talk about the most important subject matter of a very controversial movie. And I'm going to throw to Jamie. Let's talk about these fake Louboutins.
Yes, I was about to bring them up. The blue.
I didn't even realize they were fake.
Okay, so here's the thing. Blue is a much nicer color, but everybody knows Louboutins because they have red soles. If you would like me to go in the other room and grab a pair and bring them in, I can, because I am a fucking part of the problem.
And they are a symbol of that elite society.
They are, God, ew, I feel gross saying that. They are a symbol of wealth or whatever.
Yeah.
To be fair, their shoes more expensive than them, so it is odd that. But if you Eli, in your everyday life now, when you're scrolling through things, if you ever see like a famous person's shoes and like just look down at them, even in interviews, you will, even men, women, you will notice on
Red
talk
soles.
shows, a lot of times they have red soles. I have noticed, and I'm not even a Swiftie, Taylor Swift has them in her tour. Every time they show her walking across that stage, bottom of her soles are red. Now, this is the thing. They are only red. They are trademarked. You can't do it on your shoe. He will fucking sue you. They did blue in this in this movie. 2 reasons. Is it to do blue because is it because that's what I was wondering? Or is it just simply because they wanted to do the same point but couldn't do red and whatever?
My guess was that they wanted to make that reference. They knew Louis Vuitton was never going to sponsor this movie, so they made them blue. I think, to your point, I think everybody who knows what they were doing.
Okay. But here's the other thing is I have seen them in movies because, again, as someone who just, for them,
not movies like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just in movie, I feel like there was at least, oh, never mind. That was the point of that movie. A different one. Because they're in if you watch, I know it's a different point because it's the whole point of her and she actually wears in the whole movie. So he probably did sponsor it. But that movie where I love fucking, what's her name is the villain, Blake Lively.
Devil Wears Prada?
No, Blake Lively. When she's
A Simple
I fucking
Plan
love her.
Like
I love her character. She wears them the whole movie. But he probably that was
right up his
I get
alley,
it because that was her character and whatever. But I feel like I've seen them in movies. But I guess to your point, I mean, they focus so much on them. He probably, there probably would have been a.
I think a lot of companies now tries to stay out of political fighting.
I definitely get that.
So if I had to guess, I definitely think this is one that they're like, he'll never agree to this.
Might as well just avoid.
So we're just gonna change the color.
Yeah, Dave. Those of us that know got it immediately. First of all, they do the thing where they show her just walking and they show the back of her shoes and they're blue. And I was just like, oh, fake lubes. And I wrote it down right away because that's one of the earliest scenes, is the plane and whatever.
And that's who Athena is. I mean, that's who Athena is. Yeah. She's going to mark her territory, as it was. I mean, she's literally in a master bedroom in her private jet while all of her friends have to sit and coach behind her while she takes a nap.
Or the fact that she keeps being like, it's not a manor, it's a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah, I just had it decorated.
Yeah.
Not a manor. It's not a word. Yeah. The fact that she uses that lube, let's just call it a lube. Eli, that's what we call them for short.
Lubes?
Lubes.
Like lube?
No, his name is Christian Louboutin. So for short, Loubs.
Oh, I thought you were saying you call them lubes, and I was like, that's a weird thing to call them.
Yeah, lube, but
he's thinking Lube.
Yeah,
that's I know that, and I'm saying it's said the same way, but it's not because
I don't know if that makes me feel better.
And I'm probably butchering his name because I'm not French, so but anyway. I love that she also then uses her Louboutin to stab him in. Wait, doesn't she? Right? Yeah.
Yeah, in the beginning.
In the eye, and then peels the eyeball off.
Yeah,
that's when you know you're in for a fun show.
Yeah, that's the beginning of this movie. So it's not I
mean, the guy gets stabbed in the jugular and then gets his eye plucked out by a Louboutin. You're in for a good time.
Oh, the fake lubes! I wrote that down right away.
Because even she was because the other thing too, they're talking about that champagne that she got from that boat.
Yeah.
And then they drink it at the end.
But she offers it to the girl.
No, she doesn't offer it to the girl. She offers the girl the
caviar.
Oh, the caviar. Sorry.
And then the girl asks her very coyly, "How's the champagne?" She goes, "It's
great.
Fucking great."
Yeah, that's right. Sorry. She offers the caviar to the girl, not the
But I think it is important distinction. She never offers her the prize.
That's true.
She offers her the spoils. But I did think that was hilarious too, because the Heidsieck champagne, that whole thing with the shipwreck that they found with this crate of champagne, that's all real. But I also thought it was a really fun play on words, because Heidsieck and hide and seek. I thought that was really cool there too. But that bottle is the symbol of the winner. And so she literally downs the whole bottle while this girl's cringing at her. I was waiting for her to belch and then say it's fucking great, but she didn't do that.
No, all I know
is a little classier than that, Dave.
Yeah, she had her good.
She put on the dress and the lubes, and she was like, "No."
She's much more badass than me, because as soon as I got on that plane, I'd be like, a fucking hospital. I just closed up multiple knife wounds with a fucking char tool from my kitchen.
She fucking like, not only does she do that though, I was like sitting there thinking, and we had this conversation in You're Next about thinking too much realistically at dumb things like, oh my God, now she's going to get arrested or whatever. But in this one, the realistic thought all of a sudden after this absurd movie just took place is like, I'm sitting there, she's like, she closed up her wound, but now she has time to go get dressed and change and her hair looks clean. And I'm just like, I'm like with you. I'm like, I would have went right to a hospital. But and I'm sitting there thinking like, but she put on these clothes and now she's fine and she's drinking and she's eating. Like, this isn't the most realistic thing to do once you're open wound.
Supernaturally high endurance, maybe?
All I know is if you're expecting anything less than great scores for me tonight,
oh God,
you are mistaken. And I can argue everyone. It's not me lying. Listen, I had a sad morning. Okay,
don't make me feel bad for you.
I'm making you feel bad for me. I'm doing it because I this morning when I was watching this, I became very sad because my favorite final girl has always been Laurie Strode. And I know after tonight, she will not be in the top 3. Okay. And then I was thinking, like, I made a mistake. I should have did 2018 Halloween instead of OG Halloween. But we never did OG Halloween before. And I was like, I really want to do it. But I made a mistake. Should have had old feisty Laurie Strode, not young sweet Laurie Strode. So I did that, Jamie. But then when I watched this, I was like, at least Betty Gilpin will be there.
Fair. At least
she'll represent you. There. But, with her sock emergency money.
That's right. Because I also have sock emergency money. So if you don't like her, Jamie, you don't like me.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing left on this movie, I think. It's yeah. When it's fun. But when when it's slow, it is fucking slow. And then when it's cringy. Like I just couldn't, it is hard. All the dialogue for me is hard. I know I ripped on Betty Gilpin, but honestly, when it's just her and someone else, the dialogue was way less than when it was like that group of people or any group of people, whether it's the mom and pop, the things the mom and pop said to each other. Oh my God. I know it's character, but it was holy shit. If they were on any longer, I was like, I'm done with this movie. I am done with this movie because they went at the right time.
It's poisoned. There's 48 grams.
That was the only. That was actually the funnier part was the grams of sugar, but the whole NPR and them being white and being terrible and all that shit. I was just like, oh,
we are the worst.
Yeah, we are the worst.
Oh, did you pick up on her? Will they serve sugar at the Revolution? Did you pick up on that? Mm-hmm. Another Animal Farm line there too. I
never read Animal Farm.
I think that's the horse that says that.
Yeah. You need to read it. It's classic.
Will there be sugar after the Revolution?
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I had like nothing. I was just doing one of those things, but no, I had nothing to follow it.
Eli, is there anything we didn't hit on that you want to talk about?
Yeah.
I see. My love of Betty Gilpin.
No, we hit on that.
She's the best.
How she's the best. I think that's it for me. I what else is there to say?
And to the whole point of this movie and the quote unquote controversy, what I liked about it is that it gets to in a satirical way.
Talking like me, Dave.
I know it. It's heavy satire. It's goofy satire like Idiocracy, but I love Idiocracy for some of the same reasons I love this movie.
Yep.
Because it really does speak to my biggest frustration, which is when the problem isn't ideology. It's the problem when your ideology trumps humanity. Like when your ideology requires you to dehumanize everybody who doesn't think like you, we're in a really dangerous spot. And I thought that was the takeaway for me. Whichever side you're on, when you've decided that I've got to be right at no cost, and if that means killing other people, then we have a much bigger social problem. And I think that's what we've been dealing with, which I think it's ironic that this came out when it did, because obviously when this movie was being produced in the end of the 2010s, we hadn't gotten to COVID yet and all of the fallout and all of the social things that have happened since then. But it's obvious that we were headed in that direction even before a global pandemic, of just deciding that through social media and all the other things that we intake, that we get in our bubble and we decide that this is the only thing that can be right. And I'm going to devalue everything else. And it puts us in this position to where things that are happening like they are happening now happen.
Oh no, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, and I don't mind saying that this is a movie I watch at least once a year, probably twice a year, just because I enjoy that somebody out there is laughing at the same things I need to laugh at. I need to laugh at this absurdity because it's way too real when I walk out my door.
I think right there is my problem. I think if I saw this when we weren't in this world, like if this was a warning of what we are to become, it hits a little different than this is my life. I'll date it. All of us, I'd say but I'm just saying, like, this is what we are dealing with in an extreme. And it's just too real in that way where you can't laugh. It's not foreshadowing of what we are going to become, because we're already fucking like there. And to your point, to remind everybody, when this came out, it was in theaters and it closed because of COVID. But how perfect then is Dennis? Because I can't remember. Oh, you said his name was Dick in this, but I'm just going to keep calling him Dennis from It's Always Sunny. When he asked for hand sanitizer, because this came out right at fucking the
just rough it.
Like,
yeah.
He's like, does anybody have any hand sanitizer or whatever? When like, I guess that's it. And again, listen, I'm not going to sit here and say this is the worst movie I've ever seen, whatever. I think those lines would have been less irksome or less cringeworthy if I wasn't. And I get your point too. You need to laugh at whatever. It all makes sense. And I think for me, I wish this was like a foreshadowing more than it was literally what we're fucking. This is a fucking satire or whatever, but these people fucking exist. And it's just like, that's bizarre. Like this is the world we live in is bizarre. Like these people, to Dave's point, they're like, and I know I said something earlier, but there is no side in this besides that this is what we all like. This is fucking unreal. Like what we're doing, and everybody is the fucking worst here. But like, it's not one side versus the other side. That's how it's presented. But it's not in the point of the movie. It's just that fucking this is like the extreme degree of what.
Save us, Betty Gilpin.
Yeah,
your only hope.
Well, and to your point, and I wasn't going to get into it, but you bring up a good point. And no, it's just that. For those that don't know, I'm in East Tennessee, extreme East Tennessee. I call myself a hillbilly because I literally am. When Helene came through and wrecked Western North Carolina and East Tennessee and Georgia, literally thousands of people lost everything. Like for the last couple of weeks, my son and I have been going up into the mountains, into these really rural areas and helping people sift through their stuff and taking them water and taking them things. You know, there is a struggle with the government response to that. There's nobody up there to help them. Their home insurance is not going to pay out. I mean, they're literally in a state of complete abject hopelessness because of this terrible thing that happened around them. They didn't do anything. And then I go on, whether it's X or Instagram, and there's people celebrating fucking racists finally got what they deserved, or look at the hillbillies burn.
Wait, really?
Yeah, just
this is why I avoid. This is
just celebrating that all these redneck, right-wing ignorants are homeless now. Now they'll get to see how it feels. I'm literally going through my thread while I'm helping somebody with 3 young kids that are all below the age of 5 who don't have anything and aren't. You know, there's no chance that. I mean, literally, there's one bridge to get over the mountain now where I live, and. So to your point, that's the reality. I mean, we have gotten to a point that it's totally okay to go. And people say that stuff to be shocking and to be funny in their little groups, but they put it in a public forum that then I have to consume. And it becomes really hard. Anyway, so.
No, but we're awful. People are fucking awful. And I think like, that's why there are funny moments in it. There's exciting action, but that's where that dialogue bothered me because this is what we're living in, and it's just fucking awful. Like,
to both your points, I think like you're seeing now, and like it gets brought up every once in a while, like a lot of these dystopian type films and literature is coming back today because it's shocking how right they are. Like the other day, I was literally talking to somebody, and like we were talking about stuff happening in the world, and I was like, Ozymandias was right, and he was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I was like, "If you read The Watchmen, like when The Watchmen came out, people are like, I remember like it was like that ending. People would argue like, oh, like you shouldn't have to go to that extreme. Like they were heroes that could have done something, but like Ozymandias was right. Like the only way at this point." Like it would take something
to unite humanity,
an enemy of galactic proportion.
To
unite humanity at this point because of the divide, and you see that divide get bigger every day, and it's fucking depressing.
Yep.
And we've joked about when Idiocracy came out in the 2000s. We all saw that and we're like, what a stupid movie, and now we're like.
So that's the thing. If this came out, you know what I'm trying to say? Idiocracy. Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
I totally.
When we were a more listen, there's always been division. But like when we were a more unified unit, like it's that's all. Yeah. If this movie just took that message out of it for me, maybe I would have just had more fun. Oh God, I still would have found the middle boring. But at least still dialogue, because again, there are even the over the top dialogue. I had minor moments, but like when it went too far, like the mom and pop, but like he's wearing like the kimono at one point. They tell them to him that's appropriation. I fucking cracked up because like, and then when he said they need to have a minority, I lost it there too. And they said they needed to have a minority in their kill group because it looks like.
Yeah.
I was just like
even just the absurdity of the situation that he was wearing a kimono in a bunker in Croatia. Like there's just like that just that pure like the absurdity of the moment. Like this movie did a really good job. Like even like
there are some that like I'm like
absurdity, but at the same time, like I can see that happening.
No, all of it. I can see all of this.
Oh yeah. But I love the dynamic between Dawn and Crystal, like in the bunker when she takes out everybody and then he walks in, she's like, "Thank you for your help." And then he has the audacity to say, "Give me a gun." Do you think you could find one?
That line, thank you, Dave. That was the line I think I laughed at though for her because she's but like when she said, "You think you could find one on the year or whatever?" Because I did laugh then.
It still the fact that like the whole time, like from the time they get in the car till almost when she kicks him out till almost the time where like they drive away, he's screaming.
Yeah.
Just like both hands out like, oh,
what's happening?
And she just like, whatever, fuck it. I gotta do what I gotta do.
And when she goes to kill the other girl, the elite girl, and he's like, "Stop, you can't do that." And she's like,
"Kill a woman." Yeah.
She's a woman and talking to a woman. Ma'am. Do you think that you should be afforded different rights because you're a female? No. Bam.
Or even like before that, she's like, "You got real upset when I didn't give you a chance to talk to that gentleman before I killed him. So is there anything you'd like to ask her?" Like, oh my God.
Why are you killing us?
That dialogue is funny because it's not cringy. Like that dialogue is fucking funny. That dialogue's funny. Like, but I think the one that really pained me when I wrote the note, and I know it's early, was the mom and pop. They pained me so much that I was just like, I can't deal with this. And to like when we would cut to the group in the bunker, like the group hunting, whatever.
Yeah.
Some of their shit was brutal, but I also did get over it in time because I was like, okay, this is what I'm sitting through. So you gotta see it's like that.
I know they're about to die.
Kind of like, that part of it kind of like, but anyway.
In a spectacular fashion.
In spectacular.
I was going to ask you, Jamie. I mean, the opening kill in the bunker is the canoeing of the skull. You had to enjoy that, right?
So wait, the opening kill in the bunker,
like when he says, "You almost shot me," and then she literally blows.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Hey, bitch.
Yeah.
Gilpin.
Still the pit is though is like is the it just happens so fast. Honestly, when Emma Roberts gets shot in the head, I did one of those. Every once in a while in a movie, you go, it came out it came out. I was just like,
and that was almost sort of it was a lesser version of the whole Drew Barrymore thing. Like it's Emma Roberts.
Emma Roberts. I was like, what the fuck?
And she's the first out.
They could only pay Emma Roberts. I'm not acting like Emma Roberts is her aunt or anything, but like they could only pay Emma Roberts for like, I mean, I get it though. It was more of the, I think the shock, Emma Roberts, does horror. She's like the
whole budget for this movie went to Emma Roberts, the pit scene and the grenade scene.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Oh no! When she says "fucking kill me," she grabs the gun. She goes, "You fucking snowflake!"
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, that one actually bothered me though. The fucking snowflake line. I could see that. I was like, "Oh, it's this movie." And then we get to Mom and Pop, and I was like, "Oh man."
Yeah, they're all equally guilty and need to die. I mean, it's
yes. Anyway, I don't know.
So let's get into the part that Jamie has not been looking forward to. Let's give Crystal May a score on the survival grade card.
Oh, God.
And we are going to start with endurance. And Jamie, what do you think about our girl Crystal as far as a survivor, what her endurance level is?
There's only one correct answer.
A 9.
A 9.
Let me have that. Okay.
Second best answer. Second best answer.
Yeah.
Eli?
I'm not giving her a 10.
I have to give her a 10. She had no point in this movie slowed down. Even the multiple times in the last fight when she got stabbed, she pulled that blade out and went back to ass whooping. She did not.
She didn't pull it out. She hugged. She puts it in.
And then judo flipped her and pulled it out. Listen, she was an ass kicking machine from step A to step Z. She get 10.
She never had any bubble gum.
Nope. She was not done chewing.
All right, Eli, I'll let you go next. And we're going to talk evasion. How did Crystal do on evasion?
10. No, I can't give her a 10.
Okay.
She did get stabbed a couple times in the final fight, but she did survive a long time.
She also gets taken off the train. There's no evasion there. She
you can't really evade that snare, but I'll give her an 8.
An 8. Fair enough.
I'll give her 1 point off the train. 1 point for not about evaded for getting caught in the very beginning of the movie. She gets an 8.
Oh yeah, she somehow she ends up.
I mean, she was drugged while she was eating in Mississippi, and I'll give her an 8.
I gave her a 9. Jamie, what are you giving her?
There's only one correct answer here.
No, she's not getting a 10.
I don't mean a 10.
He means an 8. That's what he gave her.
That's what I mean.
I'm thinking. Here's the real question too. What were all of them in the bunker doing the whole time? Like, why were they all just there? They're waiting for them to get, because here's and this is why, because I'm thinking, what was she evading? They're all sitting in the bunker, just waiting for them to come to them. Right? What is going on there? In the beginning, they're shooting everybody. We don't even know where she is. She makes her little compass.
But I think the whole thing was there was certain outposts where if they weren't killing them, but like the fact that they
just fucking hanging out.
Well, the fact that they made it to the other government, that guy's job was to bring them back to the bunker.
Bring them back, and then they could hunt them or whatever. I don't know, 7. They weren't even hunting her at that point. Like, there's no hunting in the middle of this movie. I don't even know what's fucking going on. She literally walks into their bunker and takes them out. What is she evading? There's nobody out there.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, Jamie. Luck. How lucky was Crystal?
You know what's funny is I was thinking about this in the shower earlier because I was trying to memorize all the things. I'm in the shower. And so I was
thinking about cordyceps.
Thinking about luck in the hunt. And I was just like, well, is she lucky? Is she unlucky? I mean, she's unlucky because she gets into this situation, which of all the people in the world, she's unlucky because she has the same name as. Is that true? I'm sorry. Is that whole fact true?
Yeah.
Because she's not the right Crystal.
Yep, they grabbed the wrong Crystal.
She has literally the same fucking first, middle, and last name as someone in her town.
But that's common
Pretty
in
unlucky
towns.
Yeah. Especially a name like Crystal May.
Yeah.
That's common?
Right. Like, do you know how many, like, when I was in high school, I had 3 John Smiths in my class.
Well, John is a popular name. That's not a.
So is Crystal and Country.
Yeah.
So is Crystal May. Yeah.
I didn't know Crystal May. I know. So for my generation, the middle name was like Lynn. My sister literally has, and like a million other people have Lynn as a middle name.
May is a country name.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
and Crystal is Crystal Gale. Everybody was naming their kid after Crystal Gale.
Okay, so luck. So I guess that's bad luck because she has the same name as someone. I was trying to think of how luck played in her favor in this, or did not play in her favor in this. She was lucky that the people who sold her cigarettes don't know the fucking price of cigarettes. I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, honestly, if they said so here's my question, because this was going to be one of the design factors for me. If they said the right price of cigarettes, Crystal would be dead.
I don't think so. I think,
but they said the wrong price of cigarettes, and that ticked her off. Therefore, the whole movie, she's only alive because of the luck that these fucking dopes said the wrong price of cigarettes. She was
suspicious. I think she was just putting out feelers to test. She was because she also gets some weird look when she bent down to pull out her shoe money. Like she gives this weird look because like they lean over real quick to see what she's doing.
She knew where the gun was. She saw him reaching for it.
And if you were in the country, no one's questioning shoe money. Everyone knows everyone's got shoe money.
I don't know. Give her a fucking 5 right down the middle. There's no luck in this. She's got bad luck, and she literally is so lucky they didn't know the price of cigarettes. I mean, otherwise this whole movie doesn't exist. She would have been dead right there.
Yeah, fair enough. Eli?
Now, I just want to make sure I understand this, Dave, for our rating here. A good survivor does not rely on luck. That's what we
That is the way the Matrix works. The higher the score you give her on luck, the lower
the worse it is. That's what I thought. Because honestly, her actual skill and what she did, there was no luck playing in that. Now, to Jamie's point, she did have some bad luck. She was drugged to get here. She was stuck with Gary for a time. So for luck, I would give her a 3.
A 3.
You're not taking into account that she also had fantastic luck that the people didn't know the price of cigarettes.
I don't think that was. See, I saw that as something different. She was doing all these little tests on them to confirm because she thought it was weird, and like that was how she finally confirmed her test. Because like I think she started it with the shoe scene because she was like bending down. I think she was checking to see if there's a gun on the counter, but like she makes a face when they look over the counter real weird because like. She knew if she was in Arkansas, no one would question somebody bending down to their shoe when they're going to buy something.
Yeah.
I mean, she was also lucky that the drone didn't see her and lucky that she saw the tripwire for the...
Oh, she heard the drone. She was hidden.
And she was lucky that there was a train coming when she happened to be
These
there.
are all good. Oh, the train. I forgot. That was one of my points, too, that she was lucky a fucking train was just...
She would have kept going.
A minute, like, not even...
We're talking about...
defending Jamie's point.
I understand.
I forgot about that one, Dave. I would have, but like...
We're talking about Rambo here. She was a one-woman army. It doesn't matter what would have happened. She'd have whooped its ass, called it sir or ma'am, and then moved off.
But why?
But the point of luck is that it did happen.
Yeah, that's the point.
But luck doesn't matter when you're going to whoop its ass anyways.
Why are you so pro Betty Gilpin, but so anti Erin when they're the same character, just in two different...
No, there's a difference, right? And I'll tell you why there's a difference.
I don't know. I like Erin better. What?
Betty Gilpin questioned everybody, and she never told anybody her plans. She was a woman of action. Erin, I could have went and told her, said, hey, if you hit him with this marshmallow, it will stop him. She'd go, okay. She believed everyone. Okay.
No, all right. And then
she believed everyone, Jamie.
Fine. Dave, what are you giving her for luck?
I gave her a 7. That's where I ended up. So
I should have went closer to Dave, but it's okay.
All right. I think this one, if we're not all high, we'll have a conversation. Weapon skill for Crystal. Eli.
10.
Okay. Perfect weapon skill. Okay.
Her hands were weapons. She used any gun. She literally used her own stomach wound to defeat her enemy.
That's pretty gnarly.
Pretty
yeah.
That was pretty good, that one. Like when she hugged, like she pulled her in.
Yeah. And then judo flipped her to pull it out of her own stomach to put it further in her stomach. Like her stomach even has weapon skill.
Yeah. Whatever. Give her a 9. It's fine. I'm just gonna say this now. Okay. If we end up with our supreme final girl is this fucking chick who's never going to be in another movie and is barely in it. It's not a series and it's not fucking Sydney Prescott. I'm going to cry because you got the epitome of final girl who's been in 7 movies and this chick who just comes out of nowhere.
Hold on, Jamie. I thought this may happen.
Yeah, and you prepared for this? What?
I have, because when we're done here,
The Hunt 2 is coming out.
If that's how it plays out, I have an answer for you. I literally thought this.
Yeah.
Because
that we're going to end up with Joe Schmo final girl.
Well, hold on, because we're the Truthy twins. Because we're the Truthy twins, and I'm Team Jamie. If you will just let us get to the final ranking and then let me present my idea, I guarantee you.
Are you going to undermine the entire scorecard?
I am not. No. I'm not going to do that. But I guarantee you, Jamie, you'll be happy.
But I've already accepted that fucking Betty Gilpin is going to somehow be our link.
But I listen, I think you'll be happy with my answer to the dilemma.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to bring us to the end. It's just I'm facing facts. I see the fucking end game here. I know what's going to happen, and I'm trying to manage my disappointments
with you. You got to trust in the Mole King. That's all I'm asking you.
Yeah, 9 for weapon skill. Just fucking give her 9s. What are we? We're not going to get out of this without.
All right, Jamie. Intuition.
Oh, come on. She's 8, 9. I don't know what she, right? Her intuition was never fucking it. She's a fucking, like, she's supernatural. Something doesn't exist. Like, this woman doesn't. She's
a caricature. It's not, it is unfair.
Yeah. She's fucking fake. Yeah. Intuition. Right now, I'm really trying to think if she ever fucked up her intuition, because then at least I can dock her like some points here. Well, oh, no, I guess not. I don't know. We still don't know for sure if Dawn was or was not, right? Like, we really don't know.
She doesn't care.
I would argue that's better intuition because she's removing an unknown from the board. That's good intuition right there.
He wasn't a high-value human being to start with.
Not high value, but potentially a risk. Remove a risk from the board.
All right, Eli.
Good intuition.
Oh, Jamie, sorry.
Wait, I didn't finally give her a score. No. Also, I had one more question to dock her down a point, and I don't think this has to do with intuition, but I'm using it anyway. Dawn says he threw the pig down, but I think it was her idea, right? Because I want to fucking punch her in the face for that. Because he implied... Because she says you did nothing, and he goes, "Well, I threw the pig down," but like it sounds like she had to come up with that idea because she's the only one who thinks of anything. So I just want to say that here has nothing to do with intuition. I think you want to hate her, but she's a shitty fucking human being to use a poor pig.
That was never clarified. So
it was
we can blame her.
It was
never clarified. He was hiding. That sounds like something Dawn would do.
No,
just throwing that out there.
Yeah. All right, whatever.
Betty Gilpin need no pig.
I can't. I don't give her. 8.5.
8.5. Okay.
For Eli, because he threw in the point. He threw in the half. That's
you got a half point there, Eli.
I did.
I did do that once. How was her intuition?
9.5.
Where'd you say 9.5?
9.5.
He used that 0.5 you gave him to bump up his 9.
I did.
I'm giving her a 9 as well.
You want to do 9.5, Dave? You haven't done a 0.5 yet.
Nobody's given me my 0.5, so I have.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, and then the Fly. Sure.
Right.
So the last one, and this is where Jamie will probably get some justification for sure. Really? Let's talk about her influence.
She doesn't influence anyone, right? Does she? None of them really listen to her. I don't think. Do they? Does Gary listen to her? Not at all. No, Gary
did he get blown up by the truck?
Because he did not listen to her. She kept telling him not to do.
He did get blown up by the truck.
No. Then, but like later, he is like not listening to her, no matter what she tells Gary.
Because he's Alex Jones. He's all crisis actors.
I get that, but the question is influence, and like
it's like throwing catnip down to a cat.
Our whole point in this movie is that these people can't be influenced because they're so fucking high on their horse of beliefs that they will go to any extreme to not listen to you. That basically this whole cast of characters would have never listened to her because of the movie we're dealing with. These people don't reason. These people don't listen. These people don't want to listen to logic. Or she's supposed to be our normal person. She's supposed to be our like normal person to some degree because she's not. But like, no one's going to listen to her in this movie because that's the point of this movie. No one is going to listen to her influence or anything she has to say. So to that point, by nature of what this movie is about, Her influence is a 3.
A 3.
Nobody's going to listen to her.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm
looking at Eli. I'm arguing with Eli right now because Eli, sorry, you got to give me the whole point of this movie is that these people are extremists in their beliefs and they don't listen. Gary did not listen to her. Maybe Don a little bit, but he also was just a fucking weak human being. And she's telling him to put down the gun and he won't put down the gun. Nobody is listening to her.
Exactly. All right, Eli. What do you think of the influence of Madame Crystal?
I don't think her influence is as bad as Jamie makes out. Now, is it perfect? No. But I would also argue influence is not just influencing a person to the positive, let me help you. Influence could also be to the negative, influence them to make mistakes. In that case, she was testing the gas station folks, influenced them to make a mistake. So she knew her answer to whoop their ass. And that's what she did. I would argue she was able to influence Gary not to open the truck. She pointed out, she told him, she realized he wasn't going to load the gun. Now, did her people skills need some work? Sure. Does that affect her influence score? Sure. But she did do it. The people that stayed with her while they were listening to her, they lived. Gary lived. Dawn lived until they started doing some shenanigans. And then she didn't want to influence them anymore. Because they just want to die. She influenced that army sergeant to tell her where Athena was, even though he didn't want to do it. With her,
I don't think he cared at that point.
He didn't care. There was no influence. They literally were just having a conversation, and she was just like,
hey, she. There was tears. She influenced him. Give her the information. So now, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I would argue it's a 6.5.
A 6.5. 6.5.
And now Dave has a 0.5 to play with, so he can also do a point score.
Well, this one I can't in good conscience because it's almost the same conversation we had with Sydney and Luck. I think influence was a non-starter for this survivor in this movie. So I gave her a 5 right down there. I think it was a non-factor for the movie.
Non-factor. Got it.
So,
fair.
You don't want to do a 5.5?
No, she didn't. She didn't even get the 0.5 because honestly, to the point you're making about Don surviving as long as he was there, and then the conversation where she could have had influence and tried to manipulate the conversation between Don and Athena to figure out if he was a bad guy or a good guy, quote unquote. She didn't because she didn't care. She just killed him.
And I agree. That is why I docked points from her.
So we have our final scores.
Jesus Christ.
Crystal comes in at an 8.31.
Motherfucker.
Our top survivor.
Everybody was in 7, I think, right? 7 point.
Yeah.
The two that were right behind each other were 7.3, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm saying things that
Yeah, the rankings are Crystal is number 1 at an 8.31. Sydney is number 2 at a 7.25. Aaron is number 3 at a 7.19. And
they were very close.
Eli, Lori was a 3.92.
Picked the wrong Lori, okay?
Eli, I want to put your mind at ease that even if you picked old Laurie Strode, she was not going to beat these women. I'm sorry.
She was basically old Betty Gilpin.
She was not going to beat these women. I'm telling you right now. I'm Betty Gilpin too. She's not beating any of these women. So don't worry. She would have been 4th place even if you put the new one in.
So if this is validating, let me run down each individual host's rankings.
Okay.
Because I know who my number 1 is, I think.
Yeah.
But
Jamie's number 1, 8.33, Miss Sydney Prescott. Her number 2 at an 8.17, Miss Erin.
yes,
Her number 3 is Miss Crystal at a 6.92, and then Lori came in at the lowest score given for Camp Wicked Wild at a 2.67. That's rough. That's what that is.
Oh.
So the rankings for our resident Mole King. Miss Crystal May is number 1 at an 8.5. And then Eli has. Ooh, do we have? No, we don't have. I thought we had a tie there for a minute, but no. His number 2 is Sidney Prescott at a 6.5. His number 3 is Aaron at a 6.08. And then even for him,
I was going to say, even for you, Eli, you couldn't even bump Lori up
at a 5.17.
Listen, but if that doesn't show you how honest I've been through this whole process, Jamie,
you have. Okay.
I have not tried to
reproach.
I have not tried to influence anything. I have been honest about my feelings.
I mean, so far it's tracking, I think, I don't know. And Dave.
And then my scores are Crystal May, 8.67, my highest score. She's my number 1. And then I've got Sidney Prescott, 7.17 for me. Then Aaron, 6.83. And then Lori at a 3 flat. So I was just above Eli for Lori. Oh. But I mean, to the point we've been having, overall, we scored them pretty similar. Jamie had Sydney and Crystal flip, but other than that, the scoring is pretty identical. And who would have known that the original Scream Queen just doesn't cut it for Camp Wicked Wild?
Not in 2024. No, she doesn't.
Listen, I picked the wrong Lori. Okay, I picked the wrong Lori.
Well, on that somber news. And I'm going to do a graphic. I'm going to do a graphic for social media just to see people burn down the post of our rankings through Camp Wicked Wild of who the survivors were.
That's going to be a fun.
My God,
so angry.
Yeah, they are.
So, what are we following up the hunt with on Campfire Tales?
Well, first, I just want to hear what Eli was going to offer me to make this. We don't have to do it. We've accepted.
You know what? I'm going to do it, Jamie.
No, we don't want to mess with the rankings, but I want to hear what you were going to offer. Okay, what?
Not going to mess with the rankings. I wanted to offer you, as you know, in Campfire Tales, we have the Campy Awards, right?
Yeah, we have the Campy Awards.
We've done the Campy Awards, So, I thought we'll do a new award. Final Girl in Horror Film Only category. And we would award the first one to Sidney Prescott.
We're just we give the honor. We're just giving an honorary award.
Yes, we'll do this every year.
Thank you.
And she'll be the first one.
Oh, thank you.
Honorary, give it to her. That way, we both win.
Did you win? Lori is.
Listen, I just did that nice thing, and you're stabbing me in the heart.
First of all, I didn't know you loved Betty Gilpin this much, and she's number 1. Gilpin. So
I love Betty Gilpin.
All right.
So what's the title for your award?
Yeah.
It's the Campfire Tales Honorary Final Girl in a Horror Film for the Year award
for Jamie.
For Jamie. And
Jamie's personal award
for 2024, we're going to give that award to Sidney Prescott. So,
and she's earned it. I mean, to Jamie's point, nobody's carried more franchise than Sidney Prescott. Sure.
So that way, Jamie and I both win.
Fair enough.
And Dave, you win arbitrarily because we win.
Dave wins because his final girl.
That's right.
Oh, I was gonna say his final girl won. We each picked like a movie, and his was the apex.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's actually fair since I also created the scorecard.
Well, I mean,
let's not say that, Dave. Okay.
Hey, I see you have learned well, student. I've taught you everything.
Eli, your Campfire Tales. I derailed it.
As you know, for this year's Camp Wicked Wild, the Campfire Tales is focused on us building our perfect horror movie. First one, we picked the new slasher. Second one, the new Final Girl. Third one, we did the location. And like any good slash movie, for this one, just like every movie we've watched, there's always a twist at the end. So we're going to decide our twist, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Spooky spooky.
Huh?
Well,
spooky blue.
Thank you to my host first and foremost for spending yet another spooky season. Honestly, I don't know what I would do in spooky season if I didn't have these games and these themed movie watches. with my buddies to go through. I've really enjoyed it. This has been a fun one. The whole survival school thing is something that I thought was a fun way to get into some different kinds of movies that we may not have ever been able to review within our regular programming. Like we would have had to shoehorn Scream in some way to make it work, and even Halloween, but we had a theme that we could kind of get away from some of those and get to some of the classic horror movies. Really have enjoyed it this year. If you enjoyed the podcast, we do ask that you subscribe and rate the show. Leave us a review, give us some comments, let us know what you thought. Excuse me. If you want to learn more about the podcast, you can go to our social media on X at Wicked While We Are, or Slasher, the horror only community, at Wicked While We Are there as well. You can follow us on Instagram at Wicked Wild Pod, and we are also on YouTube. If you enjoy your podcasts in a video format, you can go to the Wicked Wild Podcast and you'll find us there. And we've been getting more and more comments on the videos, which is always fun. I think Jamie and Eli have both gone in and seen some of the ones that people have commented on and given us feedback, and literally spawned a new segment or a new special report series for the podcast. So now that we have the suggestion box where my two partners in crime burn down movies that not only do they not like, to Jamie's point about this movie, movies that they are offended by and want to burn to the ground.
Yeah.
And this may shock you people. We offend easily.
And then, if you have any feedback or if you want to send us any ideas, you can always send me an email like an old fart like me. Just send it to podcast@thewickedwild.com, and I read all of those and we'll give feedback as needed. But that's it. We have wrapped yet another year. It's a bittersweet, just a few days away from Halloween itself. But as we look through these movies and the subject matter of survival school, I was, I had a lot of thoughts about what we were doing and how our audience would respond to it. And Eli, honestly, if I was being real, I would just have to tell you that at first when we decided to do this, I was afraid.
Oh my God.
I was petrified, thinking, I could live without you by my side. And after spending nights thinking how you had done me wrong, Eli, I grew strong. And I learned how to get along